Call this meeting of the St. Hines Board of Directors to order. First, we're going to have our invocation. Jeff?
Yes, thank you. Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings that you continue to provide us. We thank you for the blessing of this awesome place called Sandy Pines. We thank you for the members, the staff, families and friends, and all who experience our happy place. We are excited for the start of our 2024 season. Excited to hear golf carts, laughter, kids playing, campfires, pickleball, yes, pickleball, and golf and food trucks. We're just blessed to have this place where we can bring family and friends together and enjoy the outdoors. We ask that you watch over us, protect us, keep us safe today, tomorrow, and evermore. Please fill us with wisdom, strength, and guidance as we continue to do the best that we can, making tough decisions for the park, for the betterment of the park, with basically trying to make this place a better place than what we found it. All things are possible for you, through you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next item will be the roll call.
Yep, I can do that one. Alan Carpenter.
Here.
Rick Day.
Here.
Bob Beckendale. Pat Newsbaum.
Here.
Kelly Johnson.
Here.
Paul Pepple.
Here.
Stephanie Sapan.
Here.
Kurt Van Beek. Scott Wyman.
Here.
All present minus 2.
Thank you. Our next order of business on the agenda is the approval of new park members from December of 2023 to April of 2024. Jeff, could you give us some of the demographics and breakdown of our new members?
Would love to. Sales through December, January, February, March, and April are the totals that we have here. A total of 27 new sales. We had 8 through the for sale by owner process, 17 through our sales department. We're starting to see that swing. Kent and team is doing a really good job in sales, and 2 transfers. The breakdown, December we had 2 sales, January we had 3, February we had 1, March we had 11, and April as of today we've had 10. Total new members to the park, 41. And the breakout of that is 1 individual in their 20s, 9 in their 40s, 15 in their 50s, 13 in their 60s, and 3 in their 70s. And that's a summary for sales.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the new members for December 2023 through April of 2024.
Kelly, who's the motion?
Rick Day supports.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business on the agenda is the approval of the December 2023 board minutes. The board of directors members received these minutes via email. Do you have any questions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the December 2023 board of directors minutes.
Scott, motion to Scott.
Pat Duzema, support.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business is our financial reports and update. First, I'd like to have our treasurer, Rick Day, give us an update from the Finance Committee.
Yeah, the finance committee met last week Wednesday and for several hours, went through all the check registers and everything and all the financial statements and balance sheets and asked some great questions and everybody was happy with that and it was forwarded on to the board for approval. And I would just like to add that as I just started working with that committee, that I was very impressed with the dedication and the knowledge of that group of people that spends the time. They don't just rubber stamp stuff. I mean, they really dig into it and they really ask questions and know what's going on. And there's a lot of professional background in that world of finance, and it really makes me feel good to know that there's that many different people that are looking at the financials and able to, make sure that everything's appropriate and headed in the right direction. So kudos to them. They're a great group of people, and I look forward to working with them.
Thank you, Rick. Kimberly's remote, but can she give us an update on the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails financial statements, November 2023 through March of 2024?
Yes, I am here, and I would be happy to. If you cannot have me or hear me, just please stop me, and I will try to check my connection. But I will start for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails. I'm going to give the review comments for March 2024 year-to-date, which will include the review of the financials that the Finance Committee looked at from November 2023 through March 2024. So, first of all, the operation cash balance is currently $85,000 lower than the previous year's balance. However, this is expected to increase once our capital reimbursements for the Phase 2 pool invoices that have been cut out of the operation cash balance are received back from the asset replacement cash account. The Charles Schwab investment account is beginning to recover from the losses that have been incurred in the last year. Member accounts receivable is approximately $62,000 lower than previous year, which is due to more members paying the renewal charges a month earlier this season than we've noticed in the past, which is good to see. The Phase 6 golf course receivable to Sandy Pines, that does include the $100,000 payout made from Lake Monterey Golf Course to Sandy Pines, which took place at the end of 2023 fiscal year. The change in the acquisition buildings account, you will notice, is up, and that includes the invoices that have been paid to date for the Phase 2 pool. The increase in the administration income is due to higher renewal sticker costs for the season and the rise in the mailbox fees under the member service income. Those were changes to the fees that were approved at the end of last year. Holding tank income, the holding tank income for maintenance, the holding tank income, park and garden, non-taxable softeners, and delivery income were all significantly higher than last year. Last year there was a system adjustment by for-profit that was mistakenly done, removing the pump out renewal charges that should have been billed in March, but were instead charged in April. As a result, you will notice that April's holding tank income for 2023 will reflect an increase of $109,000 and correcting the discrepancy you're seeing in the year-to-date numbers observed in March. The maintenance income specifically is up $29,000 from last year, and that's due to a timing difference in recognizing the income from our winterizing costs. Resort services reflects the CPI rate increase and due for the new 2024 season, as well as includes the number of electric charges that were billed quarterly in December 2023 and March 2024. The cable Wi-Fi expense is significantly higher than last year. This is due to a seasonal suspension under the previous contract that we had early in 2023. The fiscal year 2024 started with a new contract, and billings for the member Wi-Fi during the off-season will continue with changes under the new contract. And this is unaccounted for in the revision of the budget for the new year. The retail center department now includes the operational transactions, the country store, country cafe, and in the upcoming season, the dairy dev. The sales department was busy during the off-season, processing sales through the park and you'll notice that the commission's income to the park has doubled from last year. In addition, due to the system changes last year with the dynamic software, software delivery income was significantly delayed as we got that process in place. Last year's software income of $73,000 and the delivery income of $15,000 will be added to the 2023 figures in the financial statements in the May financial statements. So you will see that accountability correcting itself in the May financials. Overall, the inclusion of the $197,000 in delayed revenue from current year to previous year will bring the net income more in line with the previous year's figures. And that concludes my review for Sandy Pines.
Thank you, Kimberly. Do any of the board members have questions or comments on the financial statements for Sandy Pines? I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial statements for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails for November 2023 through March of 2024.
Rick Day will make the motion to approve as presented.
Kelly will support.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Kimberly, could you give us an update on the Lake Monterey Golf Course financials, please?
Of course. The Lake Monterey Golf Course financials as of March 2024 year to date, there is minimal activity, just being the off-season, but I can share operation cash balance is $58,000 higher than last year's balance. You will notice in the March 2024 financial statements, this is the time that the transfer of the assessment takes place from Sandy Pines to Lake Monterey, since all of those assessments and funds are received through the Sandy Pines operational account. So you will see that transfer process through to Lake Monterey in the month of March. Net income has increased by $3,000 compared to last year. Although gross income is down by 1%, operational expenses have also decreased by 2.5% compared to the previous year. The drop in gross income is attributed to the reduce of off-season activity and fewer merchandise purchases year to date. Also, the reduction in operation expenses is due to fewer repairs that were needed for equipment in this current season. And that concludes my review for Lake Monterey.
Do any of the board members have questions or comments on the Lake Monterey Golf Course financial statements? I'll entertain a motion to approve the November 2023 through March 2024 Lake Monterey Golf Course financial statements.
Scott, motion to accept.
Rick Day support.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. My next comments from me. Well, first of all, I'd really like to welcome all of you here. It's good to see so many faces and so many people that have an interest in Sandy Pines. We're just starting to get started up, and we've got some things that are changing. Of course, as usual, things change. One of the things that we're going to try to do, we're going to have a new committee that is going to be called Community Engagement, and we're going to try to engage more with our new members, possibly have phase ambassadors. It's going to be up to the committee what they really do, but try to get us more involved as a community. I want to thank all the hard work that our staff did over the winter. They're still working. They're doing some road repairs and working hard. And of course, we're all really excited for that new pool. I'm on the pool committee, and we're really pleased with the timeliness and the way it's getting done. And it looks great. Jeff?
Yes, thank you. Again, just reiterate what Ellen has stated. Welcome back to 2024. Been a busy off season, and we've made some changes. Again, we're blessed to have a beautiful park. We've been entrusted to take care of it, and make it better as we hand it down from generation to generation. Some things that we've done over the off-season, just to recap a few things here. We've made some personnel changes, if you're not aware, in the park inspector department. We had a lot of time during the off-season to start digging into some things and trying to improve that area. Jim Buchanan, Jim, you here? Can you? Jim is park inspector number 1. Steve Helmer, are you here? Steve is park inspector number 2, and then Cindy Murray, you will see coming back, I believe May 8th, to be an admin support. And so we beefed that department up. A lot of feedback during the season, last season, and during the off season. Hey, we're a large community. It's one person that can't handle it all. So we've made some changes in that area. A couple of other things that we've changed. We're going to have some Saturday hours in the park inspector office, mainly for getting permits, reviewing projects, things of that nature. We've also changed the permits. So if you or your contractors are working on any projects, we've changed the permit process. If you have an old form, I would ask that, hey, you might want to resubmit that. The basic change is if you have that carbon copy, that old carbon copy form, that doesn't have all of the information that we need on it. The new form asks for, hey, what's your project look like? What's your site look like now before the project starts? Give us some pictures of it. We've been missing engineering drawings on things of that nature, so we're really trying to make certain that we're doing the right things in the park. So those new permits were actually launched, communicated, and effective January of 2024. And we've had a ton of other projects during the off season. Phase 2 pool, which Ellen talked about. Concrete's poured. That thing is due to be open Memorial Weekend. We were planning to take occupancy May 20th. We've got shoreline projects. That was a big feedback from the Lake Committee Town Hall that we had towards the end of the season. Phase 2 point is done with the riprap in that area to help erosion, stop erosion. We're starting to work on some of the items over the Chapel Point there as well. And a lot of discussion about the dam project, that's D-A-M, depending on the day. So that one continues to be at the forefront because we got to make certain that we're taking care of that project. Road paving, train station, there's a train station now that's been built over there to house the train. We couldn't house the train where it was originally housed due to safety and OSHA requirements and fire requirements, so we built a separate area for that. Dairy bid transition is going well. That's due to open May 3rd, so ice cream is going to be here sooner than you think. Country Cafe, the equipment's been delivered. That's been going smoothly. Health department has been pleased with everything that we've done there, as well as the dairy dip. That's due to open for breakfast. I think Mother's Day weekend is what Dale's targeting. New RC track over in Phase 4, if you haven't seen that, climber track. Ton of feedback on Facebook, positive feedback on that. We're just blessed to have a talented staff that can get all these projects done. I know when I first started, it was, hey, what do you guys do in the off season? Now, sit around and drink coffee and eat donuts? No, we don't do that. So it's been a really good season, and we're blessed to be here and serve the park and serve you guys. So thank you. That's my recap.
Okay. On to new business. Jeff, do you want to talk about the board meeting format change a little bit, because we're kind of incorporating another meeting into this meeting?
Sure. And we'll talk, there's another bullet point item on here, item C. So we've taken feedback at the end of the season and got survey feedback. The face-to-faces have kind of ramped down with participants. And, you know, we get a lot of people here on Friday nights, and then Saturday mornings, hey, I want golfing, or I want to spend time with the family, or I just want to sleep in. So the format for the board meetings going forward is we'll go through the agenda items, and we did this probably 2 or 3 years ago with having comments and questions from the members. That really took a board meeting from, an hour to 3 hours. So we're trying to meet in the middle with, we have you here tonight and at board meetings. We'll adjourn the board meeting and then we'll go into comments and questions similar to a face-to-face. We'll have 30 minutes. It's a hard stop, 30 minutes, because we want to be respectful of everybody's, Friday nights. And then we will try to limit your time to about, 2-3 minutes max, if we could, for your questions and comments, and then try to have that conversation that we've had at face-to-face meetings. So we're going to try that this year and see how that goes, and then we'll get some feedback, and if we need to make an improvement and change, we'll do it.
Okay. I think the biggest thing to remember when we get to that portion is to be respectful of everybody. Okay, our next item on our agenda is some changes in the committees. We have pared down our committees to 8, and in that 8 we added 1. Some of the committees weren't very active, weren't meeting very often. We didn't really have anything to give them to do to make it productive. So the Finance Committee and the liaisons will be as follows. The Finance Committee, the liaison is Rick Day, due to his position as treasurer. Rules Advisory Committee, and the liaison is Kelly Johnson. Lake Committee, the liaison is Stephanie Sapanya. Library Committee, liaison Craig Van Beek. Long-Term Planning Committee, liaison Scott Wyman. Golf Course Committee, liaison Paul Peppel. Safety and Security Committee, liaison Bob Deckinga. Community Engagement Committee, which is the new committee, the liaison will be Pat Dusma, and I'll be helping Pat, and we will be looking for people to get on this committee and help us get some direction, build this committee into something that really gets us together. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to accept these committees and their liaisons.
Motion to accept, Kelly.
Stephanie approves.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next item under committees, we have a new Rules Committee member that has been accepted by the committee, and the board will be voting on her. The new member is Carrie Terpstra. Kelly, do you have anything to say about her or adding her?
Yeah, we had a vacancy. She reached out to the chairman of that committee and volunteered to serve. She attended the first meeting with no voting privileges, of course, and told us a little bit about herself, and the board decided to add her to the committee with the committee decided to add her with the board's approval, and that's what I recommend to the board.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to add Carrie Terpstra to the Rules Committee.
Motion to add Carrie. Kelly.
Second, Pat Dusma. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The Lake Committee has a new member that the board is going to vote on approval, Tim Halstead. Stephanie, do you know Tim?
I've not met Tim. Is he here? No. Tim, hi. Oh, great, thank you. Great. The Lake Committee had a little restructuring with Jim stepping to become an employee. So Val Toshwitz is taking over his chair, and then eager just to get started on everything, and excited to see some projects that we've been working on for a really long time get off the ground.
Thank you. At this time, I'll accept a motion to add Tim Halsted to the Lake Committee.
Rick Day makes that motion.
Scott second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Jeff, could you give us some information about what our plans are for the town halls this year?
Yes, I'd love to. So this is the second bullet point that I alluded to earlier. Face-to-faces, we're making a little bit of a change here. What we saw with specific topics, if you remember, we were making the spectrum change, the lake committee projects impacting the lake, the golf course assessment, things of that nature. When we had a specific topic that was impacting the park, or we wanted to talk about impact to the park and to the numbers, we had a ton of people come to that. So we're going to change the focus again from a face-to-face meeting to specific town hall topics. So the discussion that we had with the board May, we're still working on a date. You'll see it in the footprints here. It will more likely be the Saturday, 2 Saturdays before Memorial Weekend, so right after the board meeting. May will focus on Lake Monterey. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Boat stakes, talked about the dam, the other projects. We'll get, you know, docks. We had a change in the dock rule and what we needed to do. So we'll get updates to all of that. I think the majority of that meeting will be what's going on with the dam and what's the plan, what's the dam plan. June will focus on building and development in the park. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a later topic here. July, we'll focus on our 10-year capital renewal. We have, I believe, 2 more years of our 3, I believe. 2027 is when it ends. So we want to start getting in front of that, kind of like what we did with the golf course assessment. Start getting impact and communicating thoughts, needs of the park. And then August, we'll have our annual membership meeting, so no town hall there. And then September, we'll wrap up with Lake Monterey again. And hey, it's our number 1 asset. There's a lot going on there. We'll have plans in place for the dam. And right now, the plan for this is construction will start after Labor Day for improving that dam. So August, September is going to be important communication for that project. So that's what we're doing to try and get some more information and better communication in numbers.
Okay. Jeff, it would also be really nice if you would give us the information on the porches and the trailer modifications.
Would love to. So again, in June, this will be a huge discussion point for, you know, building and development in the park. Bless Jim and Steve and a couple of our volunteers. We've jumped into some things. The township has contacted us with some things that they believe are going on in the park in regards to porches, walls, bedrooms, modifying trailers, meaning a trailer. This is an RV park, so we're a campground. So a recreational vehicle, RVI stamped trailer, is manufactured at a RV manufacturing site. So when that is stamped, that means it can get pulled on the road. When we start adding porches and then walls in those porches and bedrooms behind those walls, and oh, by the way, I want to cut out one of my walls so I have an open concept, we have now invalidated that RVI inspection certification. If the state comes in and says, hey, pull your trailer, hook it up to the tongue and pull that trailer out, I don't know if I can because I got one entire wall missing. That is a huge issue for the township and for us because our livable space for the campground is 400 square feet. You start adding walls and cutting out walls to your trailers, your livable space has increased beyond 400 square feet, and we are no longer an RV park or campground, we're a mobile home or a residential area. That's a tax issue, and that becomes a safety issue as well, because if we're modifying, just willy-nilly modifying these trailers, loads from snow loads, if a tree falls down on it, is that thing going to collapse? So we've had multiple meetings with the township. We're starting to get direction and plans in place. We'll have that by our June meeting. But we had our contractor meeting April 14th here at the North Shore, where we handed a letter to our contractors that here's our permitting process. You must follow the permitting process. We have to get back to anything done on our sites have to be per rule book. Contractors that add porches, cutting out walls, things of that nature, adding bedrooms, they need to cease and desist immediately. No more. So that letter went out the 19th. We've had discussions with Vacation Land across the road. They've been very supporting and very, very good in going down this road. But this is a huge concern because our $9 quarterly unit tax becomes a $4,000, $12,000. I got a nice trailer on the lake that's got 2 walls blown out, double porches, living spaces, 900 square feet. That's called a second home. We start messing around with that, then we lose our campground status. So we'll get more details in June. But if you got anything in process right now, it's going to be halted because we can't go forward any longer, and then we got to figure out what we got to do going backwards. So. Any other comments from the board, or Alan, you got any other questions?
Our next item of business is Resolution 04-26224 regarding site cleanup, and this was provided in advance between discussions of members noticing unsightly sites, messes that don't seem to be dealt with, conversations with the Rules Committee, and a lot of back and forth on this. This is what the board has come up with to vote on. It may not be popular with everyone, but it will help us, we believe, to make our park look better. And there's, the same expectation, but the rules, the procedure's a little stronger. Okay, so I'm going to read, first I'm going to read the old language, then I will read the new language, and then we will vote. Resolution number 04-2624, resolution to amend Rulebook Handbook. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Rules Section 2, Site Development and Regulations, Subsection A, Sites. Item 7, Cleanup of Site. The park president, park inspector, or their designee has the authority to require any unsightly site to be cleaned up and maintained to a standard as required by the park rules. This shall include, but is not limited to, the published site cleanup list. For the purposes of the site checklist, excessive is defined as visible from a reasonable distance, for example, the road or pathway. This does not preclude the site inspector from on-site inspections if deemed necessary. This cleanup shall be maintained and up to standards as described above by June 10th of every year. All sites shall be maintained throughout the summer season from June 10th through Labor Day every year to the aforementioned standards. After June 10th, any site found in violation will be issued a violation ticket of $100 and a copy of the site violation checklist. Notification of the violation and copies of these documents will be provided to the member per your contact information in the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails member records. Preferences include either mail, email, or alert process. Member must provide photo proof showing the violation has been corrected to stop the violation process. If the violation has not been corrected within 14 days of the first violation notice, a second violation notice will be issued that carries a $200 fine plus 2 points added to the member account. If it is still not corrected within another 14 calendar days, the member's Sandy Pines member cards will be suspended until such time that the site has been satisfactorily cleaned. And an additional 2 points will be added to member account. Every 14 calendar days thereafter, a $200 fine and 2 points will be added to the member account. It is the responsibility of the member to ensure their site is kept to standards. The fact that this rules section has been adequately advertised to the entire membership via TV, footprints, publications, etc. shall serve as proper notice to all members of the site cleanup requirements and/or site cleanup date. Sandy Pines will not employ private contractors to perform site cleanups for any member sites. Whereas the Board of Directors for the health, safety, and welfare of Sandy Pines believes it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and additions to the rules and regulations relating to Section 2, Site Development and Regulations, subsection A, Sites. Item 7, cleanup of site, currently located on pages 41 and 42 of the Sandy Pines Rules, Regulations, and Bylaws Handbook. Item 7, cleanup of site. The park president, inspector, or their designee has the authority to require any unsightly site to be cleaned up and maintained to a standard as required by the park rules. This shall include, but is not limited to, the published site cleanup list. For the purposes of the site checklist, excessive is defined as visible from a reasonable distance, for example, the road or pathway. This does not preclude the site inspector from on-site inspections if deemed necessary. This cleanup shall be finished and up to standards as described above by June 10th of every year. All sites shall be maintained throughout the summer season from June 10th through October 15th, season end, every year to the aforementioned standards. After June 10th, any site found in violation will be issued a violation ticket of $200 plus 3 points added to the member account and a copy of the site violation checklist. Notification of the violation and copies of these documents will be provided to the member per your contact information in the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails member records. Preferences include either mail, email, or alert process. Member must provide photo proof showing the violation has been corrected to stop the violation process. If the violation has not been corrected within 14 days of the first violation notice, a second violation notice will be issued that carries a $200 fine plus 3 points added to the member account. Member's Sandy Pines cards, member and associate, will be suspended until such time that the site has been satisfactorily cleaned and a membership review may take place after a total of 6 points have been added to the member's account. It is the responsibility of the member to ensure their site is kept to standards. The fact that this rule section has been adequately advertised to the entire membership via rules, regulations, and handbook, footprints, publications, etc. shall serve as proper notice to all members of the site cleanup requirements and/or site cleanup date. Sandy Pines will not employ private contractors to perform site cleanups for any member sites. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the above resolution. I'll accept a motion to approve this resolution.
Motion to approve, Kelly.
Support, Dave.
Do any of the board members have comments or questions on this before we actually vote? Jeff, could you do the roll call vote, please?
Yes, I will. Alan Carpenter,
Yes.
Rick Day,
Yes.
Bob Deckinga, Pat Duzma,
Yes.
Kelly Johnson,
Yes?
Paul Pepple,
Yes.
Stephanie Sepana,
Yes.
Craig Van Beek, Scott Wyman.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Okay, at this time, I will accept a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved, Dave.
Second, Tuzman. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned.